Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at the top story. The United Kingdom's media regulator has fined Khalsa Television for broadcasting a music video and a discussion program that advocated violence against the Indian state and indirectly called for British Sikhs to commit violence and also contained a terror reference. UK's media watchdog Ofcom imposed a total fine of £50,000 on the broadcasting TV for breaching its rules. The music video was aired on television multiple times in 2018. Ofcom noted that the image emphasized the video's narrative of advocating violent action against the Indian state. UK's media watchdog found that the music video was an indirect call to action to Sikh community to commit violence. The regulator in its probe also found that the discussion program included a reference of the banned terrorist organization Baba Khalsa, and that legitimizes and normalizes its aims and actions in the eyes of viewers. Ofcom also found that the program provided a platform to several guests who indirectly encouraged the viewers to commit violence. The Ofcom conducted a probe after it received several complaints against the music video and the discussion program. This is the story that we're tracking. The United Kingdom's media regulator has fined Khalsa Television for broadcasting a music video and a discussion program in 2018 that advocated violence against the Indian state and indirectly called for British Sikhs to commit acts of violence and also contained a reference to terror. Now, the UK's media watchdog Ofcom has imposed a fine of £50,000 on the broadcasting TV for breaching its rules. This music video was aired on the television multiple times in the year 2020. Ofcom noted that the image does emphasize the video's narrative of advocating violent action against the Indian state. Now, the watchdog in the UK found that the music video was an indirect call to action to the Sikh community to commit acts of violence. Now, the regulator in this probe has found that the discussion program that included a reference of the banned terrorist organization Baba Khalsa that legitimizes and normalizes its aims and actions in the eyes of viewers. And Ofcom also found that the program did provide a platform to several guests who indirectly encouraged viewers to commit violence. Ofcom conducted the probe after it received several complaints against the music video and the discussion program. We are being joined by our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark, for more on this. Good evening to you, Mandy. Now, Ofcom has imposed a fine of £50,000 on the broadcasting TV for breaching its rules. Take us through the details of this.
Well, Ofcom is the regulator when it comes for Britain's rules, and they have very, very strict broadcasting rules when it comes to journalism. Anything that seems to be in breach of international journalistic rules that shows bias, you will get very stiff fines. Those fines can be per minute. So this is the first fine, and if the programming doesn't change, in all likelihood they can continue to get fines and also be pulled off if seen repeatedly in violation of Ofcom rules. So this is a pretty serious breach.
Right, Mandy. Now, there were references to Khalistan during the protests in London last month, which were meant to be in solidarity with the protesting Indian farmers against agricultural reform. Now, however, recently, during a question on the same in the UK government, they termed it an internal affair for India. Now, how is the government viewing this growing Khalistani influence in the UK?
It hasn't become a discussion point as such. Of course, those farmers' protests, the government has said they just see this very much as a domestic issue for India. It doesn't believe that Britain is in the position to comment on it. It's for one for India to deal with. But there is a growing movement of Khalistan that is being seen in Britain. Now, it hasn't become a discussion point for Parliament, but with increasing vocality of the group, in all likelihood, if there is enough issues with it, then it will become a point of Parliament. Certainly, it's something that Britain will look at very, very seriously, because it is looking to disrupt one of their closest allies. So that would be something that the British government would take pretty seriously. But right now, it hasn't been a topic of conversation at House of Commons. Currently, they're due to talk about the farmers' protest, because there was a petition that reached over 100,000 signatures, and that requires a debate. But the government has already staked out their position that they very much see this as a domestic issue for India and not something that Britain should be commenting on.
Right, and Mandy, the fine has been imposed on Khalsa Television. Has there been any comment or any mention about the music video and the discussion program that was aired on Khalsa from the television station?
They're not in the wider mainstream broadcast, but the fact that this has been flagged to Ofcom is pretty serious. It is the watchdog, and now they will be looking far more closely for future breaches. So once there has been a breach, that red flag, they will seriously look at it. And if there's very carefully at the station, and if there's deemed to be any inappropriate material or bias that is repeated, they can very easily lose their license. So Ofcom is a government body that certainly has a lot of teeth, but it hasn't become a wider discussion yet in the public forum.
Mandy, thank you very much for bringing us all those details there coming out of the UK. WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.